rocks like that, and those fish are up their feet. It's a good one too. Oh, that's what I'm talking about. Got that one too. Toss them in just that side little back.
Hello everybody, Vince Harris, Future Pro Tour President, and we are now completed with a 7-event season for both the North and the Central region. And now it's classic time. Time for a select group of qualifiers to compete for the biggest amateur championship in the Western United States. What is so challenging about this championship? Day one, we're going to Lake Camanche, which is a deep water, clear impoundment that has a lot of spotted bass, a lot of largemouth bass, and some smallmouth bass. But on day two, there's a twist. We're going to the California Delta, which is a world famous fishery that has over 1,000 miles of sloughs and levees, waterways that has every 4 hours the tide changes. And not only that, it is famous for double-digit fish everywhere. The guys are gonna have to put down the light line on day two, pick up their heavy gear, and go for it. Most importantly, $80,000, unprecedented, is at stake at this classic, with a new Ranger boat for first place and a Toyota truck for 2nd through 10th. We are here today at Lake Camanche helping our anglers break down this lake that they're not too familiar with, and we're happy to have with us BASS champion and Elite Series Pro, Ish Monroe. He's going to be out here and help you guys and those that don't know much about Camanche to break it down to get the advantage. Stay tuned, we've got lots of action for you as we present to you the Future Pro Tour preparing for the Classic.
You know, a lot of my friends like to go fishing, which, hey, it's cool. I just prefer fishing for gold, right? Right? Oh, this one's a fighter.
Thunder Valley Casino Resort's Masquerade Challenge is here through October 30th. Play with your club card and win up to $20,000 every drawing night or a new Dodge Challenger at Thunder Valley Casino Resort.
Oh, I'm a winner. I'm dancing. I'm not fishing. I hit a jackpot.
Precision-built performance, responsive engineering, and revolutionary design. Welcome to the accelerated look, feel, and all-out muscle of the Ranger Z520 Camanche. Powered with the 250 HO Evinrude E-Tech, the only outboard with no dealer schedule maintenance for 3 years. This rig is built to excel. The Ranger Z520 and Evinrude 250 HO. Don't just separate yourself from the pack, leave it. Evinrude E-Tech. Spend more time on the water.
See, you got these.
It's Safe Light, and Bassmaster
around
Elite
here.
Series Pro Ish Monroe recommends targeting
Around
sloping
those
points
because
adjacent
bait
to
lives around
submerged
those,
trees
bluegill live
with
around
big
them,
topwater lures
shad
to
live
connect
around
with
them,
bass
they like
that
the
feed
shade,
in the
so,
early morning
They
hours.
might be sitting over 60, 80 feet of water. You still fire over there at them and try to get it as close as you possibly can to them. I mean, you can't go wrong throwing a topwater first thing in the morning. Because you got a good opportunity of catching a really big one. Got it, got it, got it. See, get up there against those rocks like that, and those fish are up there feeding. It's a good one too. You know, you guys can actually hear the braid running through my line. When I'm fishing the topwater, I like to use braid. Oh, good black. You know, when I'm fishing any kind of topwater, I like to use braid just for the simple reason that braid floats. And so what it does is allows you to fish that topwater exactly the way it needs to be fished without the bait sinking. You know, with the Repo Man, you can't go wrong. But one other thing about it is when I'm fishing with braid on a topwater bait, I'm using a fiberglass rod, and you notice I never set the hook. All I did is I loaded the rod. Braid has no stretch. So when you're throwing it with braid, all you gotta do is reel. It buries the hook in them, and you very rarely miss fish.
Now, were you reeling that slow? What was your presentation for the guys that are gonna be using topwater? Did you run it slow, fast retrieve? What are you doing with that bait in particular?
Well, you know, with the repo man walks the dog, and that's the side to side, back and forth. So it's just short little twitches with the rod, and with no stretch, you can make really long casts with braid too. Just to their twitch it, they just imitates bait fish.
This time of year, this time of morning, do they want it fast, or you have to let them tell you what they want?
You let the fish tell you what they want. You know, for me, I like ripping it across the water, especially on lakes like Camanche and any of the clear water lakes, because I don't want the fish to get a really good look at it. They see something up there moving, they see it like it's, you know, trying to escape, and so the bass come up and eat it, and you catch them just like that.
Let's get some more, okay?
Hey Vince, let's go make another move that I saw a spot on my Navionics ship that I really want to go check.
We make a move using the same baits and techniques, but Ish feels confident that if you have success using these techniques in shallow areas, the fish you will catch in the deeper areas will be of a much better quality. Ish explains further.
It's small. We just made a nice little run. This is a pretty good sized lake for 100 boats. Would you say?
You know, I fish Gunnersville, Kentucky Lake, and you want to talk about overcrowded? Imagine 500 boats on a lake, you know, on a Monday or Tuesday. You know, it's really hard to find a spot when there's that many boats on the lake, even on the weekdays. You know, one thing that I don't ever do when I go to lakes is immediately start out throwing little worms. And don't get me wrong, little worms catch big fish, but I catch more big fish on a big topwater bait than anything else. You know, I'm a high percentage big fish guy. I like to fish baits for high percentage big fish, which means that I'm not going to catch as many fish, but
what you're going to catch is going to really put you way ahead.
Right, because if I go out and a guy catches 30, 40 fish and he weighs 10 pounds, I go out and catch 5 fish, but I weigh 15 pounds, you know, I consider that a successful day for me. Right. You know, especially in tournament. Yeah.
Like this,
yeah.
Boat and a truck on the line.
You know, that there he is, big one. God, it's a good one. Told you one to come off the point. God. So I'm saying we're not getting many bites, but the one bites that we do get, oh, that's a real big one.
Nice. That's what he's talking about, right?
Sometime right there.
Areas.
Stay down, stay down, stay down. And the great part about braid is you can swing that fish, but I don't like to swing big ones like that. Oh, that's what I'm talking about. Those fish right there, you know, when I'm talking about the quality of catching big ones, you know, I'll take 5 of these all day long versus catching, you know, 25 little fish. Those are the fish that it takes to win right there, folks. You know, get yourself some braid, you know, repo man, fiberglass rod. I use Daiwa equipment. Go out there and you can catch them.
We've now been here. We've caught 2 good topwater fish. You caught one in the marine area. We went to some deep water. You decided, hey, let's change and let's go to the flats. And we're looking at the grass and the buckbrush. What did you do in particular to make that fish strike?
Like I said, Vince, I haven't been here forever. I'm gonna say, you know, 12, 15 years. And one thing that I do is Navionics has what they call a nav planner. Okay. And what the nav planner is basically a CD that you upload on your computer to go out and search the lakes. And so you can go there and you can see everything about the lake that you need to know while you're at home.
Okay.
You know, which is doing your homework.
Okay.
And so what I saw over this place is, one, you have the main river channel, where the water comes in up north from the river all the way down to the dam that's right here.
Okay.
So you got deep water access.
Okay.
And so what I saw was these points that came off of this deep water access, but they're shallower. You know, they're ranging anywhere from 15 to up to 0 feet. And so what those fish can do is they move up out of that deep water, you know, 80, 90, 100 feet, and have just move right up to the bank.
Okay, and that
And then you
grass,
just-
like you said, the
Yeah.
bluegill and the fish, they push them up against there.
They push them
and
up there and
go
eat them. You know,
Okay.
you got the buckbrush that you can see sitting on top of this deal. Well, obviously, when the lake was real low, this buckbrush actually grows out.
Okay.
You know, and my Lowrance unit actually showed me some of that, and I'm like I just said, I was like, man, there's got to be a big one here.
All
There's
right.
a bush that we gone over, and you know, throwing that thing out there, just come up, just, ooh, I love it when they do that.
And that's what we're talking about, breaking down this lake for the classic. You get 5 like that, and then we go to the Delta.
It's pretty much on because the Delta, they're biting.
Okay.
I tell you, they're biting on the Delta.
Let's
good.
get some more, guys.
See, man, there's so many fish around this point. Oh, that's another big fish. You get yourself lined up. Oh, and that's why you have that braid, man. Especially when you get those big fish on, they got no. Oh, this is another good fish.
Oh, boy. Oh,
Oh,
Camanche, y'all.
Comanche, huh?
Camanche. Future Pro Classic coming up. That's why we came here.
Big bass. That's how you win tournaments.
Future Pro Tour angler Kevin Wallace gets in on the early morning action using subsurface techniques. Coming up, deep water strategies and bait selections.
Punching heavy cover just got a lot easier with the new Miller punching weight. The new punching system makes punching effortless with the new weight design that gets through the heaviest cover with ease. If you want to catch more fish punching today, go to MillerPunchingWeight.com.
The 2010 Future Pro Tour Classic Championship comes to the Bay Area, bringing with it 2 exciting days of bass fishing competition. Day 1 will be at Lake Camanche, with the final day being held at the California Delta. Over $80,000 in cash and prizes are at stake in this all-amateur field, so come watch the final day weigh-in Sunday, November 6th at the beautiful Lexington Plaza Hotel in downtown Stockton, and see who will be crowned the best amateur team in the West.
What's new? That's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, we're like a big theme park. Can't see everything in one day.
West Marine, we've got everything a boater needs.
Come see.
Michael Baggett and Todd Ondrachek from Bayside Adventure Sports will be competing in this year's Classic and will count on their Humminbird electronics to get their deep water fish.
If you're thinking about upgrading your fish finders to some new equipment, I just got this 1197 Humminbird. Just the clarity of this thing is incredible. This is my first time on Camanche, and I've spent a lot of time just looking around, and using the side imaging has been valuable in finding a lot of island humps that have rock on it, and also a lot of ledges, and it's been really an instrumental tool in my quick pre-fish here at Camanche. I only got a day of pre-fish in. We didn't do too bad. We'll see how the rest of the tournament goes.
We arrive at one of the islands located in the middle of the lake and surrounded by deep water.
You know, we're sitting in 20 feet of water, and there's some submerged trees out here, and it's just some big chunk rock. And you know, one thing about it is if you notice how it's about 9 o'clock and the sun's up, and so but there's still a little shade out here, and so what that shade does is it protects those fish's eyes, and you know, they still like hanging out in that shade, and they still might be a little bit active for that topwater. Right. Well, you want to have your boat on top of the bait, and then you're using your graph to actually find out where the fish are positioned. And that's the great part about the drop shot. You know, these units, you know, with the HDS Lowrance units, they're so high tech nowadays that you can basically see where the fish are, and you can see your drop shot on there, so you can actually put your drop shot to where the fish are at. You know, it's like basically delivering the bait right to the fish. It's kind of like you know, you're sitting at home, pizza shows up, regardless if you ordered it or not, you're gonna eat it. And so, you know, if pizza go to next door neighbor, you're like, man, I gotta walk over to the next door neighbor to get it. I'm not really there. But if he shows up at your doorstep, you're gonna be like, yeah, I'm on it.
Again, Future Pro Tour angler Kevin Wallace takes advantage of the productive areas we've located and brings in a nice largemouth.
You know, one thing about you know, when you're drop shotting, you know, is having super duper sharp hooks. And, you know, Gamakatsu makes one of the sharpest hooks out there on the market. And when I'm out there drop shotting, that's what I use. You know, even my flipping hooks by Paycheck Baits, they're designed by Gamakatsu, or they design them, but Gamakatsu actually makes the hook for them. So, you know, having a super duper sharp hook is really a key for catching a lot of fish and not losing them and not missing them.
But you're talking about you sharpen them, they're pretty sharp out of the pack, huh?
Oh, you don't sharpen them all. If you actually try to sharpen them, you'll dull them. That's how sharp they are. Okay. So, you know, you can't sharpen these things any more than they're sharp right out of the package. So, and that's a good thing to have. You know, there's other brands out there that, you know, you have to take a file to, and I don't want to do that. I don't have that kind of time as a professional angler, or even just as a regular when I'm out fishing, you know. I'd rather spend my time fishing and not sharpening hooks. So that's one reason why I use Gamakatsu. He didn't like my worm. And see, folks, and that's one thing is, you know, like I talked about these units being so high tech, I actually watched the fish come up off the bottom to actually look at the worm that I was throwing. And so when I see that, you know, especially when I'm out there practicing, is I'll switch up immediately to a different color worm, because obviously he didn't want that one.
Well, man, we had a good morning, man. It's getting close to 10 o'clock, man. I'm getting kind of hungry, man. And one of the things about preparation, not just bait, is talk to these guys about being out on the water and your energy runs low. If you have low energy, you can't concentrate. Right. So what do? Do you stop for a break?
Oh, well, I don't necessarily stop for a break, you know, unless I'm practicing, and even then it's grabbing a quick bite to eat, you know, and realistically, I'm eating 3 or 4 times a day during the practice, you know, along with having breakfast. You know, the first thing that I do every morning before I even brush my teeth is I go grab something to eat. You know, get that metabolism going, get my brain thinking, and you know, because you got to be thinking about what you're going to do when you're going out there to practice, or you're going out there to fish a tournament. And having a clear, focused mind is going to allow you to catch more fish. So I make little healthy snacks, whether, you know, you're grabbing some peanuts or you're making a quick sandwich to eat. Lots of water is always good, and you know, for that extra little energy kick, you know, grabbing a Rockstar, you know, is a huge part to my day. You know, I might pop a Rockstar in the morning and possibly one in the afternoon, just to make sure that I am fully focused and going while I'm out there fishing.
And it seems that a 5-minute break is going to do you more